One of my favourite side dishes is sweet potato fries. Yeah, I love sweet potato fries. I always find them a fantastic alternative to fries and chips. I don't know whether it's just a bit more earthy. I've always found them quite hard and difficult to get right though, certainly cooking at home. However, I've come up with a very simple and effective way of cooking these beauties so they're nice and crisp and golden and lovely. Very simple. We are going to give them a little bit of a bathe, a little bit of a dusting, and a bake in the oven. It's a super simple recipe. No need for deep fat fryers and all that kind of stuff. All can be done in the oven. It does get a little bit messy if, like me, you're not very good with your hands. I'm doing this with sweet potato fries, but it also works perfectly well with things like squash and other kind of root vegetables. So let's go. You will get quite a bang for your buck from sweet potato. You only really need one of them between two of you. So just get a medium-sized potato and a sharp knife. And be super careful with a sharp knife. Mine isn't sharp enough. So this is where I look really awkward. And look, I'm going to cut my hand off. But yeah, just be a little bit careful when chopping these up. Anyway, so what you need to do is cut them into nice thin slices. I like to make them a little bit rustic, so not all identical size. Some of them a bit thinner, some of them a bit fatter, as that creates some character to the fries. Once you've chopped the whole thing up, turn the slices lengthways and cut them down into fries. Once again, you don't need to be particularly precise here. A little bit rough and ready around the edges, because when it comes to cooking up, I quite like the fact having a selection of maybe some of the not quite burnt, not quite nearly burnt, but not quite burnt. Gives you a nice charcoaly crunch, which I like. Once you've chopped up all the bad boys, put them into a bowl of water to soak and leave to one side. I'm not sure if there's any culinary genius or some scientific reason, but I found that leaving them to soak, whether it's the water or starch or something, helps it crisp up. So let's fast forward. We get to the point now we drain the fries. Give them a drain, maybe pat them a little bit, but keep them a little bit damp, because when it comes to the flour, I'm using corn flour here. Bit of corn flour, some seasoning, bit of paprika. You put a little bit of cayenne pepper if you want a bit more kick. You then use the drained fries, and then very carefully or carelessly, if you're a chump like me, coat the fries in the flour. You can do this individually, which is a little bit time consuming, a little bit boring, but that probably gives you the best overall coating. Small little batches kind of have a good result. You can also be lazy and just stick everything in there and give it a good old mush around and get it all coated. But you might need a couple more batches of flour just to keep it all fresh. But hopefully, at some point, they will all be suitably coated in the dust and ready for the second and sometimes equally messy stage, which is the coating in oil. You then take your oil of choice and give it a good old glug over the fries. I use sunflower oil this time. I should have also used a bigger bowl. Clearly, I should have used a bigger bowl, as this was slightly awkward because I couldn't quite get the leverage to really coat it all as equally as I like. So, yeah, you don't be afraid to use a bigger bowl rather than the piddly little one like I did. But hey ho, don't listen to me. What would I know? If you're cooking a bigger batch, you may need a couple of extra glugs of oil, but effectively, once you have them all coated, they should have this nice sheen to them, ready to go into the oven, which we've put in. I'm going to do it at 220 because I want to crisp them up just right and still have them soft. You don't need to cook them that long because obviously fries are very thin. You will then need two baking trays, baking sheets, and then some parchment paper or some greaseproof paper. Carefully put the coated fries onto the trays. Ensure they are well spread out and have quite a lot of room. I think that does help crisp it up, because I think when they get clunked together, they can all end up a little bit mushy and not necessarily nice. So if keeping them with enough space between each of the fries gives them a nice ability to have a full on crisp all over the surface. We are almost there. You will have your two trays on those trays, two trays of sweet potato fries, and they are ready to go into the oven. Stick the two trays into the oven. You're looking at maybe 10-15 minutes in the first instance. After those 10-15 minutes, take the trays out of the oven. You will see the fries are starting to develop a bit more colour. Give those trays a bit of a shake to ensure the fries have a change of position and put them back into the oven, maybe for 10-15 minutes. But you've got to be careful here because this is where they can burn quite quickly. So keep a very close eye because minutes can matter. But that relates back to the original point we made about chopping up a variety of different sizes of fries. That way, if some of the thinner ones do start getting a bit burnt, it's not the end of the world. So they act like the canary in the coal mine. Which means when you start to see the outside of the fry going from a golden color to a slightly charcoaled, blackened color, you know you're probably at the perfect time to take them out. And when you do, hopefully you should have these lovely, fantastic, awesome, crispy sweet potato fries. A nice bit of salt and vinegar on them works a treat, as does mayonnaise. It's just so good. I love the salt and vinegar on this. The combination of the salt and vinegar, the sort of tartiness of the vinegar with the salt versus the crispiness of the skin and the crunch with the mayonnaise is a match made in heaven. And of course, this recipe is suitable for vegetarians and I believe even vegans, which means everyone is a winner. This video is part of my summer shake-up where I'm diversifying my portfolio and or completely screwing with the YouTube algorithm. But please do like and subscribe if you found this mildly useful or want to hear more fantastic culinary ideas from me.